Look at this! Holy cow! Hey there, and welcome to the Totally Fierce Crochet channel. My name's Thomas, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make yourself such a beautiful crochet cowl. It's super easy to make and very fast to make, and it's a very fashionable accessory for cold winter and autumn days. You can put it on quickly just by pulling it over your head just like this, and it keeps your neck cozy and warm. You can even put it up here when there's too much wind or just leave it as is, and you're perfectly prepped for a cold winter walk with your dog, for example. And the best part is you don't have that bulkiness of a regular scarf in front or on the balcony. It's super comfy to wear, especially since you just have to put your jacket on and close it, and it almost looks like you have a full sweater looking like this, even though it's not. Now, who's ready for some cold weather? But before we start, take a sec to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. So let's start with the things you need. First up, the yarn. I bought this beautiful yarn not very long ago. It's of course again from my favorite brand of French yarn, Pingouin. It's called Pingo Tornade, which basically comes from the way how the yarn is twisted. You have three colors twisted together as one yarn, and this gives this very beautiful effect. And once you see the finished results, you get like this, I don't know, very modern, very also masculine because of the colors, but still so luxe looking. And they say you need a crochet hook with 6 millimeters as indicated in the back, and I am actually going to use a 6.5 millimeter hook, mainly because I don't want to have it too tight, and like this it should give me like a perfect texture. Next up, a yarn needle to finish off your work, and of course some scissors. So before we start, I'm going to show you another cowl I made. Let me just open the camera a little bit. So this is a cowl I made last week. It took me about a week in total to make it. I bought the yarn in Strasbourg, and the way I did this was mainly to increase each round by one, to get like this angled effect here. Personally, I think that it should have gone a bit more downwards, or like this, more angular. So in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make it a little bit more accentuated towards later on in the front, and everything else, also the size, should basically stay the same. If you want to have it like this with a smaller peak in the front, you can always just increase every round by one. But for this tutorial I'm going to do it in a way that where it is much more accentuated, and I'm going to use basically the same height here for the collar. You always have to think as a double, so in total the work is much longer, but then you flip it over like this to get like a nice high collar around your neck. So when you have it on and then close your jacket, it almost looks like you would have a full sweater that looks like this. But it's not, and it's perfect for winter. You don't have that bulk in front like you would have it with a regular scarf, and you don't have to like wrap it around your head multiple times. You can just pull it over your head and you're good to go. All right, so let's start with our cowl, our tornado cowl. I'm trying to get that centerpiece. I think I have now the part from the front. I just put it back in here so it won't tangle up. And we are good to go. I'm going to zoom in for you a little bit. Okay, so let's start your cowl. And we do this like we do most of the times with a slip knot. This is how I do it. There are very fancy ways of doing a slip knot. You can watch so many YouTube videos about it, but I'm just going with the very basic one to do a slip knot. And up next we are going to chain 25. So you yarn over and pull the yarn through. Chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. So this now is basically the collar part of the cowl, and later on it is going to be like doubled around your neck. So now we can already start to go back. This last chain here is like our turning chain or our turning stitch, and we are now working single crochets in the back loops only. Trying to get that a bit closer for you. So back in the back loop, you put the hook through, grab the yarn, pull it through. You now have 2 loops on your hook, and then you yarn over and pull through 2, and this is basically your first single crochet. And we do this right until the end. So we get a first round with a total of 24 stitches. Can you hear the church bells? There's a church very near here in our house in France, and I don't know, always at noon and at 6 p.m. the church bells are going like crazy. And finally, that's always the time when I sit here and do crochet. So I hope you don't mind. It's the country. And today it's raining very badly. So it's the perfect weather and the perfect time to be at home and do some crochet. So we're almost at the end of our first round. Here it is. And always make sure to grab that last loop from the previous round. And here we go. our first round is complete. The stitch count is 24, and for the upcoming rounds we are going to increase every round. Like the next one is an increase by 1, and then we go with an increase by 2 to get like really this accentuated peak in the front. And we are going to alternate this throughout until we reach the part in the front where it should be the longest part of it, or the center of your chest basically. And then we are going to decrease, but first let's do the increases. So round number 2 is our first increase round. To go into the next round we make a chain 1, and then again we go directly into those back loops from the previous round and work our way along with single crochets. As you know, the first few rounds are always a bit fiddly until you have like enough crochet work done to hold it better in your hands. But with this chunky yarn, the hook basically finds its way on its own through those back loops. You just need to push it a little bit and then yarn over and pull the yarn through, and you're always good to go. And anyhow, with a yarn like this that has like multiple colors in it, in the end result you don't see any of the small mistakes that could happen. It gets like this almost heather effect, where like little mistakes and flaws don't really show. And it's chunky, so you reach the end of your work quite fast. So this was the second to last. So whenever you reach the end of the previous round, just make sure that you get this last back loop. It could be a bit hidden. And now we are already increasing. In the first increase round we increase by 1. So we do this by making a half double crochet exactly into that same space where we put that previous single crochet in it. So you yarn over, put the hook in, yarn over again, pull the yarn through. You now have 3 loops on your hook. You yarn over and then you pull through all 3 of them. And like that you have like this top part of the previous round standing up right till the end, and then you have the additional stitch attached to it at the very end. And now we can yarn over to go back, and our first single crochet in the back loop is then also right on top of that half double crochet. So here we go, and now we can go back. We increased this round by 1 stitch, so our stitch count now when we reach the end is at 25. Let's quickly go back. Now with the rain in the background, you really have like this ASMR feeling. Some people say watching crochet videos is like ASMR. Now you get the deluxe version with the rain sound in the background. And I reached the end of the round. There's just one single crochet left, and this is what I meant before. That last one is a bit hidden, but with this kind of chunky yarn, you just need to place your hook there and just push it through. It finds its way. Just make sure that you always have that last stitch. And here we go. This was round number 2, our first increase round. And as you can see in the end, where you have like this little bulk up here, this is our increase, 25 stitches. And now we make the second increase round, and this time we are going to increase actually by 2. And those 2 increase rounds we are going to alternate throughout until you reach the length that you want. So let's go back. Round 3 in total, increase round number 2. We chain 1 and then work our way along your work with single crochets. This time we have 25, and when we reach the end we are going to increase by 2, and like that we get a much more accentuated peak in the front, but still have like a almost flat border. The more rounds you make, you will see that it still gets a bit wavy, but it, in my case, or what I think is that it looks a bit more organic than having it completely straight. And crochet is all about organic, in my opinion. So the second to last is here, and then again our last one, just push the hook through that last one. And now to increase by 2, we start exactly the same way like we did the increase by 1. We make a half double crochet into that same space like this. Then we are actually going to chain 2 instead of the chain 1, and then we go back into that first chain 1 element that we did, and again do our single crochets in the back loop. Here's the previous stitch with the half double crochet, and then we can go all the way back. So now our stitch count in the end is at 27. So bulk of yarn. And now already it gets much easier to hold your work and to work in those single crochets quite fast, even though I'm not the fastest crocheter. And that last one, again, make sure that you have it. Put the hook where the stitch is and pull it through. And here we go. So this was round number 3 in total and our second increase round. So here you see our increase by 1 and this is the increase by 2. You can always see through that top bumps in what round you're in. So the first one, of course, was the first round, our first chain. Then round number 2, now round number 3. And this is now where we do the exact same thing over and over again. So next round would be an increase of 1 again, just like our second round, and then after that an increase by 2, and we do this right until you reach the maximum length of your cowl. And I'm going to make you snapshots after each round to show you where I'm at, and also like to get you an idea, or like just a reassurance that you increase and in the right rounds. And I'll meet you once I have my total length of the cowl ready. You can always put the cowl around your neck to see where you are. Some people want to have it more tight, some people want to have it more loose, so it's completely up to you. Just make sure that you don't do too much because then it would get too loose unless you want it to. So see you back again when we then start with the decreases. Welcome back to this tutorial, and I just finished round 20 of the cowl. The stitch count now is at 52 stitches actually, and this is where I'm going to leave it to go backwards with the decreases and to show you the difference, because I was mentioning before that this other cowl that I made was a bit too flat. Like this you can see it pretty well, that by increasing every second round you get a much deeper or higher peak, because this actually will be the part in the front of your body or in the front of your chest. So this is exactly then like the lowest point of the cowl in the end. And as you can see, I also didn't do it that high here on this part, because I just wanted to have it a bit more below my chin. And I think I'm good to go now with the decreases. I made myself actually a list next to crocheting, and this is also each time I did a picture for you as a snapshot to see where we are. So right now we are at round 20, 52 stitches, and the last round was an increase 1. So we are going to go back now. So we start with a decrease 1 and then a decrease 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, all the way until we reach like the 25 stitches, because for the last round we are going to stop at the 24 and then go back to close the work, like putting both ends together, this one and the one that we are going to create now. So I'm going to show you how to do the decreases. So for the decreases, we do it exactly the same way. We have to go to that peak point first. So we start now with our round number 21 and single crochet our way right till the end. By now you should be familiar with how to do those back loop single crochets. At least I hope so. And as you can see, the bigger the work gets, then it's much easier and much faster. And I mean, still, if you feel like the peak is not deep enough or long enough, you can always open your work, start again, make an increase of 2 in every round, then you will have a much longer front of your cowl, but that's completely up to you. If you want to have it more flat, like in the sample that I showed you, then just do an increase of 1 per round. Or you can, I also tried it with 2 rounds, increase 1, and then a double increase in every third round, but that wasn't actually that different to the one I did before with 1 increase in each round, so I went for this one instead. And now you can also see like this beautiful texture and the beautiful colors. It's just very, I don't know, I'm obsessed with it. Those of you who know me know that I'm a big fan of colors and textures and those kind of things, and crochet gives me so many opportunities to live that and to play with color, to play with different textures, and I just love the flexibility it gives me. And we're almost there. And from now on, also your rounds will get shorter, and shorter rounds always mean faster rounds. But still, with the chunky yarn, it's always like a very quick work, a very quick way of crochet. And even though the final result isn't that chunky or that thick, let me see where we are. Okay, so now I only have 2 stitches left here, this one and that one. Again, this is the one that is a bit hidden, and we are going to decrease now, and since the previous round was an increase 1, we are going to make a decrease 1 now. And the way to do it is as follows. You go in that stitch and the back loop, grab the yarn, pull it through, and then instead of like yarning over and pulling through both of them, you already go into that next one, yarn over, pull the yarn through. Now you have 3 loops on your hook, and what we are doing now is, I'm getting a bit closer so you can see it. We are going to not yarn over, we just take that 3rd loop here and pull it through the second loop. Now you have just 2, and then we yarn over and pull through the following 2 loops on your hook, and this basically was the decrease. Let me do it again, or let me show you again. Let me see if I can. Yes, we try it like this. Okay. Let me put the work here so it's easier. So again, a decrease 1. We have 2 stitches left from the previous round, and we are going to put our hook into that second to last stitch. We yarn over, pull it through, and then go directly into that last stitch from the previous round. Yarn over and pull it through. Now you have the 3 loops on your hook, and then we decrease by just pulling that third loop from your hook through the second loop on your hook. Now you have 2 loops left, and then we yarn over and pull through 2 loops. And this, now you can see it also here, gives us this decrease 1. Here we had the increase 1, and here's the decrease. They look pretty similar. They both have like this little, I don't know, this little corner here. So it should be fine. And then we can go back the same way like we did it before. We chain 1 and then go into that next back loop with a single crochet. Gotta turn my work, otherwise it's going to be a bit tricky. And the rest is exactly like we did it before. So I'm going to fast forward now until we reach the next decrease, and this time then it's a double decrease. So welcome back. This is now round 22, and we are going to do a decrease of 2, and to do that you single crochet in the back loop all the way until you have 3 loops from the previous, or 3 stitches from the previous round still there. And now we are going to do the double decrease, and it starts off basically the same way like we did with a single decrease. So you grab the yarn, pull it through that first back loop, then again the next one, and get that last one, don't forget that, pull it through. So now you have 4 loops on your hook, and then again for the last one, for the last 2, just pull the last through the third to last, then yarn over and pull just through 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through the rest. And this creates this softer decrease here. It's not 100% like here's for the increase round, but it definitely works like this. Here we had like the half double crochet, and to be honest, I have no idea how to reverse a half double crochet, so I'm stick to do it like this, and in the end it won't really show any big difference. and you can't, and I wouldn't go through both of them or through all of the 3 loops all at once, because then the work would be like, I don't know, like this. So I wouldn't do it. Let me just show you again. So you have like both decrease ways more detailed. So you get in that back loop, you yarn over, get in the next back loop, yarn over, and then in that last back loop you now have 4 on your hook. You pull that last one through the second to last one, you yarn over and pull through 2, and then yarn over and pull through the last 2. So this was the double decrease, and again to go back, as always, chain 1 and then go into the next back loop and then all the way through. And this is basically now what you have to do until you reach that point where your stitch count is just 25. And then we'll meet again. So here's also how it shows like from the other side. And that's also again the great thing about this yarn, that you don't really see any big difference. You just see that it's like creating this angle here, and as long as we get that angle, everything else is pretty much fine. And either way, we will always see it in the end how it would look like. So if you need a reminder on how to decrease again, just go back to the decrease chapter. I'm going to make separate marks in there so you can always go back, and always keep in mind to alternate. So the next decrease would then be a single decrease and afterwards a double, and this you do all the way until you reach a stitch count of 25. With that last double decrease, our stitch count now is at 49. We started with 52 and now it's 49. And it's still a bit to go, but you can do that. It's still raining here, so I'm probably going to spend like the rest of the evening just decreasing my way through this work, and then probably tomorrow I'll show you how to finish it with the last round. It's the last decrease, and then by going back we are going to attach both ends to each other, and then basically your cowl is already done and ready for you to wear it. So see you then, have fun, watch out for those stitches, especially the last one, and I'll see you once we all reach the second to last round. See you. Welcome back. So I reached round, I don't know what round it is actually, I'm going to count it quickly. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 38, and my stitch count here on this left side is now at 25, and this is where I told you before, like having this break, that we're going to meet up again at stitch count number 25, which is now. This is how it looks like. As you can see, the angle is symmetrical with our increases here and the decreases there. And personally, I'm just obsessed with this texture, with how the yarn looks, and it's just so beautiful. It almost looks like knitting, um, but it is crochet, and it's super soft and super cozy, and I can't wait to finish this and then wear it during fall, winter months, all those cold and ugly days. So this will definitely be my highlight, or one of the highlights. And we are now going to finish off our work, make the last round. It's the last decrease down to 24. So we have the same stitch count like when we started. And then we are going to sew in those little ends and we're good to go. All right. So what we're going to do now is to go back like as if it would be a normal round and then decrease by one in the end. And then we are going to crochet together both ends to close our cowl and then finish the work off. So we start again by making a chain and then turn, just like this, and then we have those single crochets in the back loop, of course, like we did the whole time. And since those are just 24 or 25 stitches, this will go very, very quickly. And I mean, I did the whole cowl like in the course of basically a day. So it goes very, very fast and you see results very fast, which is always great when it comes to crochet or knitting or working with yarn in general. So this always helps to have a more chunkier yarn, and especially when it's such a beautiful yarn. I'm really, really obsessed. Why are you so obsessed with me? It might say. So here we go, our last decrease. There are 2 stitches left and we are going to decrease them the same way like we did before. And here we go, our stitch count is now at 24 and we're good to sew both parts together. So basically those 2 here like this, and I'm going to actually flip it so we have both parts over each other. And here you can also see whether you were correct in terms of counting. Once this is aligned perfectly, then it should work. And now we are going to sew it together. So I chained 1 and then we are going back the same way like we did before. We take, let me just take you a bit more zoomed in. So basically we take again our back loop It's right here. Put it in, and then we are going to take this very outer loop here. Hope you can see it. They're like, here's the second one, here's the third one, here's the fourth. So you can find them pretty easily. And we are going to go into that first one, and then we yarn over, and then also go through that back loop. So you have 2 loops on your hook, you yarn over and pull through. So basically we are doing the same thing that we did before. We make single crochets, but this time we also incorporate the ones from the first round to sew them all together. And again, the yarn and the hook, they just work perfectly together. The yarn slides through it. And simply by feeling this part here, you find those stitches from the first round pretty easily. And don't worry if you miss one or are not in the right stitch. With this kind of yarn and the chunkiness, you will not see a big difference. And take it through. If in the end it doesn't match up, just open it again and do it all over. Since these are just 24 stitches, it's fine. If it would have been a bigger crochet work, this would be much more complicated, and you would always think twice to really open it or not. But this is doable. So let's see where we end up. Maybe I have to open it again, but I probably won't because it just won't show. I would rather than skip one, but it should be fine. It always looks as if you're not in the right one because of that last stitch that's hidden here. So now I have 4, here I have 5, but oh well. Maybe what I can show you when you feel like it's not working, just use the same stitch from before and grab another one from the back and just make a single crochet in there, so you're more towards the right area. I think I'm still not right here, but that's all right. Trust me, you won't see it in the end. And I just make another one right into that last one and close it. And we can now cut off the yarn. And here's our last stitch. You can now yarn over and pull it through and pull it tight. And as you can see, you don't see a big difference. Let me just zoom you out. Yes, you don't see much of a difference. There's always like this little bump, which is completely normal. But since we are like flapping this part over, you won't see it. So now the only thing we have to do is to sew in those ends. What I always do is to like make a double knot just to make sure that everything is secure. And then it's actually pretty easy because you only have to sew in those two little ends, and we are just going with our yarn right through that bulky part that we just made, like all the way through. And pull it in, squeeze it a little bit, and then we go back just somewhere in between those stitches. And we can cut it off. And then the last one, we do exactly the same thing. And let's just go in there somewhere. It really doesn't matter. No, I don't want to sound floppy or not caring, because I always say like it won't show, it doesn't matter, but it really doesn't. I mean, it doesn't have to be like super accurate, because in the end you just really don't see. If this would be like a regular yarn where you would see where you sew in those ends, I would probably say differently, but in that case I won't. So here we go. The cowl is finished. What we do now is to flip that part over. So you have like this beautiful, cozy collar. You can even put it more down if you want to have it a bit longer. And here we go. The cowl is finished. And I can't wait to put it on. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed making this crochet cowl with me. And I hope to see you again next time, only at the Totally First Crochet channel. And since Holly wasn't part of it, I'm going to put the jacket on and take her out for walkies. See ya, bye.